Welcome back, Warriors. Good to see you here. I'm Brian, and thanks for checking us out. Hey, so today I thought we'd talk a little bit about tournaments and getting into your first tournament maybe. If you've never done a tournament before, now is a great time to do one. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. Tournaments are just organized rec play. That's the best way to think about it. Yes, there can be some really good competition there, but that's what tournaments are all about. They can also be fun. It can be a great learning experience, and you can meet a lot of great people and make new friends. And that's what pickleball is known for. And what I thought I'd do today is kind of give you 7 tips or hints to help you do better at your first tournament. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. So first, make sure you bring a good water bottle and a good source of water and electrolytes. Whether you're bringing a big gallon jug with you or 2-gallon jug with you, or you call ahead and find out, hey, you guys can have water there, and yes, they do. Most times they do. Number 2, talk about snacks. You're going to be going to this venue. It may be an outdoor park, it might be an indoor club, and they may not have another source of food or snacks. Make sure you bring those bananas and oranges. Good sources of energy and things that can help prevent cramping. Maybe a sweet snack or a salty sweet snack, like a trail mix is a really good one. The peanuts, the raisins, and then the M&Ms or the chocolate thingies in there gives you a good little bit of both. Try to stay away from the high sugar content ones, because what happens when you eat sugar in your body and you're active, it burns through those sugars first and fast. Now, number 3, protein. We bring a good source of protein every time we go into an event. This really simple one is we pre-cook bacon. For us, it's pepper bacon. We love pepper bacon. So we pack some pepper bacon and some different cheeses. My wife's been really good about that, and that's the best idea ever. You know, I wish I would have thought of it, but she's the one that helps me pack those things. Next, bring a chair. One of the things that you could invest in is a nice, comfortable fold-up chair. We like the director style with the rocker option. Bring that with you, because some tournaments either have very little to no seating. This one's yours. You bring it with you wherever you move to on the courts that day, and I guarantee you'll be in better shape. You'll be more comfortable than sitting on hard ground. Talking about being outside, maybe you should bring some sunblock. Bringing that sunblock will help keep you protected from the harmful rays of the sun, help protect you from getting overly sunburned, but also can help you from not getting fatigued as quickly because you're not burning and you're not getting heat stroke, right? You're going to sweat more, you're going to be hot, so you want to have like a good brimmed hat or visor and maybe a couple of sweatbands. Wristbands are good to help keeping your face clear. So we got water, we got snacks, protein, chair, sunblock. Next one we're going to talk about is a change of clothes. And you say, that's just crazy. Why would I need to bring it? I've never brought a change of clothes with me to the courts. I just shower when I get home. Well, what if you have to drive a couple hours, right? Especially your feet. If your feet get soaked through, like I sweat a ton, guys. I'm a big guy, but being able to stop, change my socks, dry my feet off, put new socks on, and get back into the tournament, feels like you started over again. Feels like you just got in there because you're all dry and comfortable. So it sounds kind of funny, but bring it, pack an extra bag, whatever you might need to do, and you'll thank me later. So, and then the last one I would say is get to the event early as possible. Maybe do some warm-ups, a good half an hour beforehand, hour if they'll let you. But don't burn yourself out during a warm-up. Don't play super, super hard. Get good and stretched out, and then limber up with your shots. Get used to the court surface, because it's probably going to be different than where you're from, or it might play a little different. Get a lay of the land, so to speak. And then talk to somebody from the tournament. Ask them about the rules. Ask them how many timeouts you get per game. Timeouts is not just for when you're tired. It can also be a very useful tool to help when you're facing an opponent who's having maybe a good run against you. Say you're down something like 7-1, timeout. Take that timeout, go over to the sideline with your partner, refocus. Mental focus helps in these games. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But getting that time just to reset and then get back out there and hopefully break their chain, so to speak, and then move forward and win the match. So asking them about those kinds of rules, very important, as well as any other funny kind of rule that they might have. I mean, you never know. Every tournament's a little different. where the bathrooms are, where you can park, things like that. So, but the most important one is just kind of the basic how you're going to play the game rules, and then how many timeouts you get. So let's talk maybe a couple things about what you should not do in a tournament. So the two most basic things are: don't argue. Don't overly argue about a point or a shot or a line call. You argue too much, you're going to get thrown out. You can get thrown out of the game. You can get thrown out of the entire tournament if you are too argumentative, right? Especially if you get a little overly loud. If you get that bad call, and it's going to happen. You're going to get called out in the kitchen. You're going to get a bad call for something. Don't dwell on it. Don't let it ruin the rest of your match. Don't let it ruin the rest of your day. Remember, you're there to have fun. It's not worth ruining your entire experience over one shot or one call. Move past it. Now, this is the mental focus that I was talking about earlier. Taking the time to be focused mentally and be mentally strong means not letting the little things bother you and stay focused on the prize, right? Your goal is to win as many games as you can and then medal, hopefully, right? And if not, have a good experience competing. And like I say, most of the people there, they're in the same mindset as you. They just want to have a good time and maybe take home some hardware. So it's always may the best man win, but you also want to be a good sportsman about it. Sportsmanship is paramount in any sport. And there's always going to be one or two that try to ruin it for everybody. Don't let them win. If you lose your cool because of their sportsmanship values or their actions, then they just won. So take your time, keep your cool, and focus on winning the match. All right, so I got a couple of quick stories to share with you about tournament play. First one, my wife and her partner, they were in a women's tournament or a women's match, and they were playing this couple that were just not very friendly. They were kind of standoffish from the whole get-go, which is so anti-pickleball. I just couldn't even put a word to it, guys. But basically, long story short, they were going throughout the match, and the one lady that get called on this, and she got her foot over the line in the kitchen several times, but it was getting missed. Now, when you're sitting on the sidelines, you can't interfere. It is between the 4 people on the court and only them, and then maybe the tournament director if it comes to that. So what happened is, eventually, my wife called her out, said, "Hey, you stepped in the kitchen, that's our point." And the woman got really fiercely defensive. A couple of words back and forth, just nasty, "Man, no, I wasn't in the kitchen." And that's kind of how they were the rest of the day. Every time we saw them, they just had a crappy attitude about everything. But you have to be stern when you make that call, and you explain to them, what you saw, and that's the end of it. And they can't substantiate it because they weren't looking. They were watching the ball, right? And the partner, I guarantee you, their partner, I'm not watching where their foot is. I'm watching where that ball's going, so I can get ready for the next point. And then if the ball goes to somebody else, I'll take a quick glance down at their feet, and that's how I check kitchen, right? That's all you can do. You can't sit there and stare at them, because then you're going to miss the game. Well, this just happened to be one of those points where my wife was able to check, went to her partner, and boom, she could see that she had just made the hit. It had not bounced, and she was well on top of the kitchen line. So make those calls. Be confident about making them. Don't be afraid to make them. It's part of the game. Everybody gets called for it. There's so many of them that get by with doing those foot faults that everyone's usually owed one by the time the tournament's over. So that's one story. The next story involves the same tournament. Next day, we're doing our mixed doubles matches. And I was on a break with my partner, and we were sitting between 2 courts watching the battles go on and gauging the competition, right? And there was a couple who had not been being the best sportsmen. They were with their family and friends there, and they were all having a great time, and they were kind of bad at making calls, guys. I'm just going to say it like it is. They were not making good calls, calling in balls out and vice versa. So this one couple that was playing them, they noticed this ball call, and it was a line call, and the ball was on the inside of the line of the court, so it was clearly in. And next thing you know, they're kind of talking, and the next thing you know, this lady gets up and she comes over and she starts pointing at the ground where she thinks it landed and saying something in Chinese, because they were all Chinese, and they're just whooping it up, and next thing you know, the the couple just blow up their hands and say, never mind, we're going to get the tournament director. They go and get the tournament director. It was a court manager at the time, and they say, hey, we need you to come here and settle this and watch this, because it's just not fair. They're not being fair. And then now they got people outside the match, and now there's 4 people over there arguing for them. And he took a look around and listened for a couple minutes, and then he just said, okay, you guys lose the point. And he says, I'm not reversing your call, but you're losing it because of all this outside interference. If it happens again, you're out of the tournament. End of story. That's not supposed to happen. If you got family and friends that are going to come watch you, they can cheer you on, but they can't make noise during the play, and they can't make a stink like a soccer mom on the sideline when they don't like the call. You just can't. It's in the rules. It's not a part of this sport. The people on the court are calling those calls, and then if it comes to it, a court manager or a tournament director is going to come over, and they're going to govern this court if they have to. And basically for the rest of that game, he had to watch them. And they did have another point they argued about, or they tried to argue about, but he ruled in the favor of the other folks because it was another clear violation, or it was a clear out violation. And so they won the point, and they just had to, tell him, hey, you got to get used to this. This is part of the play. You don't get to argue everything. So be ready for that. You might see some of that. Hopefully you don't. But it does happen. It's just some of those things, just something to be aware of. Don't argue a lot in a tournament, okay? So I hope these tips have given you some insight on how to prepare and get some courage up to go out there and join that tournament. I encourage you to sign up for 2. Don't just sign up for 1. Sign up for 1 and look for the one that's like a month or 2 later. That way, after you get done with this tournament, you figure out what you need to do to fix your play or fix your game, and you can go back with that partner again and hopefully come home with the gold. All right, so thanks for stopping in, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these tips. What have you experienced in maybe your first tournaments or even a recent tournament? Share with the group. It might help somebody else get the confidence to join in and play. All right, if we don't see you here next time, we'll see you on the courts. Bye, everybody.